Hey everyone, welcome back to Quick Films. Today I'm going to explain an American horror anthology movie called Nightmare Cinema, released in 2018. Spoilers ahead, remember to like the video and subscribe. The movie opens up with a young girl named Samantha walking down the streets at night. She's arguing with her boyfriend over the phone when she reaches a theater, the Rialto. The theater is showing the movie The Thing in the Woods with her name below it. Surprised to see her name, she enters the empty theater and takes a seat. She's then shown the movie on the screen, which includes herself, where she's running with blood all over her body in the woods. She seems to be pursued by an anonymous man called the Welder. While running away from the man, she trips over a dead corpse and falls on top of it. However, she manages to hide from the Welder and meets her boyfriend, Jason, who suggests that they run away and save their lives. Late at night, they reach the road and notice a vehicle approaching them. Jason decides to ask for a lift so they can flee. Luckily, the vehicle turns out to be of a policeman, Tom, who agrees to help, but is more curious about Samantha covered in blood. She explains the situation and he lets them sit inside the car. Before they could leave, however, the Welder arrives in front of them. Tom gets out of the car and points the gun towards the Welder, threatening him to make him lower his weapon. He then shoots the Welder multiple times, causing him to fall on the ground. Later, when Tom is about to return to the car, he accidentally falls on the floor and shoots himself in the head. After that, the Welder wakes up and begins to pursue the couple again. In the next scene, we can see that the couple is running towards one of their friends, Mike's house. He lets them enter, and Samantha begins to explain everything. She tells him that all of their friends are killed by the Welder, and now he's behind them. The Welder then arrives and throws a hammer at Mike, knocking him down. When the Welder tries to enter, Jason blocks the door and uses a shotgun nearby to shoot him. However, the Welder breaks open the door and enters, stabbing Mike with a long, rod-like weapon. Jason shoots at him again, but the Welder puts an injured Mike's body in front of him, blocking all of the bullets fired by Jason. When one of them hits Mike's head, he blasts into pieces. Afraid to witness all of this, Samantha flees and reaches the basement. Jason begins to fight with the Welder and tries to stab him with a knife. The Welder takes the knife and instead stabs it into Jason's body. Meanwhile, Samantha enters the basement and screams after finding several corpses. Jason is then burned to death by the Welder using a flame tool. Hearing her boyfriend's last scream, Samantha gathers some courage and emerges from the basement with an axe. She attacks the Welder and manages to get an upper hand. However, when she's about to kill him, the Welder reveals his shield mask and reveals himself to be her old friend. He then tries to remind her about their outing from the last weekend. The scene then shifts to the time when Samantha, Jason, and Fred, along with their other friends, arrive at a farmhouse to enjoy their weekend. After some time, they notice something falling from the sky to a nearby forest. Jason asks his friend to go look, and they have a look down at the mysterious thing that fell. Soon, they all reach the object, and Jason touches the back of a thorny mass, causing a large number of spiders to emerge. Everyone panics and starts to run. The strange spiders also pursue the group and enter into all the people present except for Fred, who somehow manages to flee and enter one of the sheds. Despite closing the door though, a spider enters inside and attacks him. Luckily, a mask falls onto his face, covering it and not letting the spider enter his body. Fred then kills the spider with a hammer. Afterwards, he decides to kill all of his friends who are invaded by the spider so that the infection wouldn't reach human civilization nearby. Fred suits himself up with the welding dress and starts to kill all of his friends. After he finishes telling all of this to Samantha, she starts to scream, revealing the spider hidden inside her skull. Samantha pleads with Fred to kill her and make her free. Fred gets up, grabs an axe, and eliminates her. However, soon after he exits the house, a swarm of spiders arrive and attack him. After that, the scene shifts to Fred driving a car and heading towards the city. While driving, we notice some movement inside his skull. This tells us that Fred has also been infected by the spiders and is now heading towards the city to spread the infection. In the following scene, we see a romantic couple, David and Anna, sneaking into the theater to finish their intimate moment. While inside, the screen lights up and they're shown a movie starring themselves. In the movie, the two are inside a restaurant and Anna has a slight scar on her cheek. David confesses his love for her and tells her that he wants to spend the rest of his life with her. Later, he suggests she stop worrying about the scar on her face and that he'll pay for the plastic surgery if she wants to do so. David also mentions to Anna that his mother had undergone multiple plastic surgeries and could talk to her personal doctor if Anna considers having surgery to look beautiful. The next day, we see Anna at the clinic where Dr. Lehner is checking up on her scar. After having a look, Dr. Lehner suggests that she could have plastic surgery, which will remove 95% of it. The scene then shifts to the surgery day, where Dr. Lehner and two other nurses are preparing to perform surgery on Anna. Anna is made unconscious, and Dr. Lehner starts performing surgery on her. Afterwards, we see Anna dreaming of herself during her wedding with David. Upon approaching him, she suddenly notices Dr. Lehner and the nurses carrying surgery implements with their hands covered in blood. Afraid, Anna awakes to see the nurse and David standing beside her and staring at her face. Because of the medicines, however, Anna soon falls asleep, and during this time, David takes some pictures of her before leaving. After Anna wakes up, she asks the nurse, Simone, to let her use a mirror. However, Simone rejects her request and also doesn't allow her to make any phone calls. At night, Anna gets out of the hospital room and walks down the hallway to find Simone working on a computer. Soon, Simone gets a call and has to go downstairs. Taking this as an opportunity, Anna skims through the computer and finds some strange facts about the surgery performed on her. Before she can look any further, however, Simone returns. Anna flees, and on her way, she notices someone yelling for help inside a room. She enters to find a woman without eyes and a nose. Afraid, she tries to run away, but gets noticed by Simone. However, Anna manages to knock her out and take her ID card. She then uses it to open the elevator and enter inside. But when it opens after reaching the bottom, she finds Dr. Liner and a nurse waiting for her. She's then injected with some extra doses of drugs, causing her to fall unconscious. Dr. Liner then performs some extra surgeries on her. In the next scene, we see Anna waking up and talking with David. He mentions that he wants her to meet with his mother, Nadia. During this time, however, she takes off her bandages and tries to look at herself in the mirror. To her horror, she notices some unusual and ugly changes made to her body. Soon, Nadia enters and compliments her on her appearance. Anna screams out loud after witnessing all this, and the scene cuts back to the theater. Here, she's alone, with no traces of David around her. She then walks around to find the projectionist explaining to her that the movie is actually her worst nightmare. After hearing this, she screams out loud. In the third story of the movie, we see a church father named Benedict entering the theater after finding his name displayed outside. Inside, he's shown a possessed boy named Peter standing on the top of the church's roof. He's behaving strangely and is attempting to take his own life. One of the nuns approaches him and tries to stop him from finishing himself off. Peter tries to grab the nun's hand, but before he's able to do so, the evil spirit possessing him throws him off the roof. Everyone around is shocked to witness the incident. At night, one of Peter's friends, Danny, is weeping as she was one of the people who had witnessed him jumping from the roof. Her mother tries to console her and tells her that she's always with her. Meanwhile, we see Father Benedict and the nun being intimate. Later, they hear some sounds coming from outside. When they go outside to find out about it, they see blood marks all around the church, with a big strange face made on the floor with blood. The next day, Danny is bullied by one of her female friends at church. She tries to ignore her, and the female friend gets attacked by some evil force, causing her to fall down. Meanwhile, the girl notices a devil-like creature standing behind Danny's mom. Late at night, all the girls present at church are possessed by the same evil spirit. Inside, the nun reads about the devil and finds it to be Masset, a destroyer. She tries to convey the message to the father, but the dead Peter approaches and informs them about someone who's possessed by a devil spirit. He warns them that they should get rid of it before it's too late. From what Peter said, the father and nun believe that the evil spirit is inside Danny, so they decide to perform some exorcism rites on her before it's too late. However, when they try to do so, Danny's mom intervenes and takes her away from them. Later, the father realizes that it's actually Danny's mom who's possessed. In the next scene, we see Danny's mom entering the girls' room and controlling every girl present and torturing them. The father and nun arrive to notice Danny's mouth closed with stitches. Soon, the children present start to attack them. The father and nun try to defend themselves by carrying a sword and reluctantly kill some of the children. After some time, Danny's mom climbs to the rooftop and is ready to kill herself. Inside, the children who were killed regain their lives and stab the father with different weapons, ultimately killing him. Elsewhere, the nun approaches Danny's mom and tries to stop her from taking her life. However, Danny's mom grabs the nun and both fall down to the ground. As a result, Danny's mother passes away, but the nun is somehow still alive. It is then revealed that the evil spirit has entered the nun's body. The scene then shifts back to the theater, where the father is afraid to witness the story. When he turns back, the projectionist strikes him hard and eliminates him. Next, a woman named Helen enters the theater. In the movie she watches, she's inside a hospital, asking for her appointment with the doctor. She has two young boys who continuously mock her for her behavior. Helen takes a look around the hospital and finds everything to be a bit strange. Later, when Helen meets with the doctor, she tries to explain everything about the strange environment, but is interrupted by an emergency call from the doctor's assistant. Dr. Salvador then urges Helen to exit his room and meet him the next day. After leaving unwillingly, Helen is shocked to not find her sons in the hospital. She roams around and inquires with the strange workers. However, none of them seems to know about her sons. Frustrated, Helen takes out a pistol from her bag and tries to shoot herself. However, she suddenly hears her son's voice from outside and pursues it. She notices the shadows of the doctor and her sons on the other side of the door. They're talking about her ill condition and that the only solution out of it for her is suicide. They also mention that they've provided her with a gun containing 1 bullet for killing herself. When the doctor says that Helen is listening to them talk, she approaches them and shoots the doctor in his head. After that, she drags her sons away to take them home. The scene then shifts to the theater, where Helen finds a gun inside her bag, and a final gunshot can then be heard. In the next scene, we see a young boy, Riley, listening to some music and walking down the streets at night. He notices the theater and enters. He's then shown a movie containing him as a famous pianist and playing the piano in front of a huge crowd. His proud parents are looking at him with great excitement from among the audience. After the performance, when the family is about to return home, a strange man emerges from their car and holds Riley at gunpoint. He then orders them all to get out of the car and kneel down. After Riley's father retaliates, the kidnapper shoots him and the mother right in front of Riley. Riley tries to run away, but he too is shot by the kidnapper. In the next scene, we see Riley waking up inside a hospital. When he asks about his mother, the doctor tells him to take some rest. While inside the hospital, Riley witnesses bizarre things going on around him. That night, he's visited by the same kidnapper who wants to finish him off. Just as he's about to do so, a nurse enters the room and asks him to come back the next day. Later, Riley meets with another patient named Casey. While they talk, we get to know that they're able to see dead people. The next day, Riley has a vision of his mother, who is asking him to come with her. Suddenly, Casey intervenes and threatens her to let Riley live. She tells Riley to stay strong and to not fall for his mother's words. However, soon when Casey leaves the room, Riley's mother appears in front of her and kills her. At night, the kidnapper again tries to kill Riley. However, Riley manages to get away and hide inside one of the morgue containers with Casey's dead body. After Riley gets out of the container and flees, he is noticed again by the kidnapper, who attacks him yet again. Meanwhile, Riley gets another vision of his mother, who suggests he'd die, while Casey suggests he fight back and live. Riley listens to Casey and stabs the kidnapper with a stick right through his neck. Later, while he's being escorted by the doctors, Riley again notices the kidnapper in front of him. The scene then shifts back to the theater, where Riley is afraid to witness all this about himself. The projectionist appears and asks Riley to run if he wants to save his life. He also reveals that all the previous participants in the theater are dead. In the last scene, we see the projectionist putting the videotape of Riley into a box and placing it onto a shelf containing a large number of such boxes. Thanks for watching, everyone. Remember to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next video.